Google has essentially handed over the mobile mining market over to Electroneum with their recent move here, banning crypto mining, and this is going to be huge, and it's going to send really big shockwaves over to Electroneum. In a short amount of time, we're going to be seeing a huge vacuum open up simply because there's a huge demand out there for people wanting to mine using their smartphone, and the fact that Electroneum is where it currently is, well, we could be expecting to see, I mean, obviously it's in the green right now, 0.84%, but I've always been pretty confident in Electroneum, the way that they've strategically set themselves up into a degree of trust with their user base, in really a way that's unparalleled by the other competition that's out there. And now that Google's moving themselves out of the way, they're doing us the courtesy of giving Electroneum this strategic advantage. Things are looking up. I mean, Google's a big company and they are a huge competition, and when that opens up, it's a huge vacuum. Fun fact, Electroneum is actually the mobile mining platform that follows fire procedures and follows all these different health procedures of people who are actually using these smartphone devices for cryptocurrency mining. And now that Google has gracefully moved themselves out of the way and they're no longer serving this in the App Store and so forth, Electroneum has actually gone up pretty strategically in value, and ultimately I think that this will be paying off in the long run. Wow, I did not think that Google was this stupid. Google bans cryptocurrency mining apps from the Play Store, and in doing so, Google has given Electroneum a strategic advantage that's going to be really paying off for Ethereum, and ranking at the number 102 position now. And ultimately, the fact that Google has done this, they have eliminated themselves from the playing field, and they've given Electroneum a huge strategic advantage over the fact that now Google, so it's doing some really insane stuff, and it's crazy to see how these huge technology companies have dwindled, and they don't seem to be aware of these different. Now I understand where Google's coming from. They have their own agenda, and they don't see crypto mining apps as being part of where they want to go, but the fact of the matter remains, where there's a supply, there's always going to be a person or company out there who's willing to fulfill the demand for that supply. And ultimately this is just one of the other things that we'll be looking at in a few years when we're looking back at the history of how cryptocurrency rose to its point where it's headed. We'll be looking at the times when decisions like these sent really big shockwaves through the community, and this could be a huge strategic advantage for Electroneum. And one of the other things that we talk about when it comes to Electroneum is they're one of the key figures that stand to benefit from what's happening involving the global community and the interconnected nature. More and more people all around the world getting smartphones and connecting to the internet in such a short amount of time. And of course, we're seeing a lot of different news lately talking about how August is going to be an exciting time for cryptocurrency because of a lot of multiple variables coming together on an international scale. You see, when you look at this number right here, this 290 billion, and of course the chart right here where it's headed, it is important to note that variables on an international level are really responsible for this, and pointing at any one reason for what's happening is obviously a little far-fetched. But of course, when it comes to the activities of a company like Google, it's definitely does send shockwaves out there that of course Electroneum, where it is strategically placed right now, we could be seeing some interesting things happening in the near future. And I think this next month is going to we'll be seeing a dramatic change to how the public perceives Electroneum because of the impact that's going to happen involving Google. And this could result in really big bull run, if I could say such a term. Could really there could be some really important things happening now involving Electroneum, so it's something to pay attention to, of course. With all these things happening at once, we really could see Electroneum be the cryptocurrency to bring together the global community, when you consider the fact that somebody who lives in China can use Electroneum mobile mining, and then they can use that same currency and give it to anybody anywhere in the world and use it for any purpose all around the world. And these are the foundation building blocks that are going to take us to the next step of massive adoption of cryptocurrency and making these sort of technologies in the place that they need to be. And this is very exciting stuff when you take into consideration how much has happened in such a short amount of time. Nobody would have guessed that all the price movement that we've seen happening with Bitcoin and Ethereum and the whole bunch was even possible, that Bitcoin could have gone up to $20,000 in such a short amount of time. It really is, cryptocurrency really is unprecedented new haven, new grounds, and we really should consider ourselves lucky to be paying attention to this space. And when I pay attention to the Electroneum and their basically the team that's working on Electroneum, and the fact that those people are really working very hard. I mean, they talk about it all the time, how they're working really hard. And you look at the Electroneum roadmap, and it is interesting to see how they're taking into consideration the treatment of customers. I think that Electroneum really does value their customers, and you could see that how they've made their their product work in such an excellent way that really collaborates with a lot of the demand that's out there. So ultimately, I think Electroneum really does have potential to be a higher ranking crypto than it currently is. And ultimately, I mean, it is interesting to pay attention to everything in the top 200, and there is a long way to go, but I think that Electroneum definitely does have itself strategically placed in a very interesting place. And of course, I'm actually going to be including a link to this video down in the description below, so if you guys are interested, you can obviously check out this video. Basically goes over a lot of similar things, shares a lot of similar points that we talked about in this video. So I'll include a link to this video. I'm actually going to subscribe to this channel. It's AllAboutTech, and it's a really great channel. So all that being said, yeah, I mean, it is interesting to see how this space has been developing in the context of what's been happening on a global scale. And of course, the question of regulations is going to be a key determining factor in seeing how this space develops in totality, and really that conversation that's happening amongst the various citizens of Earth and all the way across the world. It's going to amount to the overall way that we see the public accepting these things, and the conversation that we're currently seeing happening revolving around data. And I think the public is becoming more and more aware of what they expect from these various different tech companies, and I think that it is interesting to see how these new projects, relatively new in the grand scheme of things, are having an opportunity to really reshape the paradigm that's currently shifting right before our eyes. So it is exciting to see this happening in real time. Now, of course, remember, this video is entirely my opinion. Remember, I'm not a financial advisor. This video is for entertainment, educational purposes only. Remember, I'm not your dad. So when it comes to these things, always remember that you do your own research, because obviously that's very important. Yeah, when it comes to cryptocurrency, though, I think that it is always interesting to just look at the different news articles that are coming out, and of course, seeing how crypto mining and how these various different things have been just really dissipating, and the way that they've been received by the public consciousness. And there's an interesting indicator about this sort of thing in the conversation that's happening. But of course, remember, if you guys want to learn more about these sort of things, always Twitter really is a really good resource for finding, you know, what's happening in the conversation regarding these things. You know, you could always make sure that you're following Electroneum on their official Twitter. You know, there is a great community on about cryptocurrencies with a good conversation happening, with plenty of people sharing their opinions and so forth. And if you guys are interested, you can also connect with us on our Twitter, and of course feel free to add us on Snapchat, you know, whatever you want to do. And now I hope you guys have enjoyed this content, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a good one.